Dwayne Johnson's path to movie success is among the most unlikely in recent memory. He started out as a well-known professional wrestler attempting to break into the entertainment industry. It was not all plain sailing, as it is with many sportsmen seeking to take the leap. However, he soon began to receive accolades for his straightforward B-movie performances. Johnson, a third-generation professional wrestler known as The Rock, landed a supporting role in The Mummy Returns in 2001. He made such an impression that the following year, he appeared in a popular standalone movie called The Scorpion King. Then something happened to and with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which elevated him from wannabe to true winner. He's now known as the franchise savior, having stepped into such struggling series like The Mummy, G.I. Joe, and Journey to The Mysterious Island, and most importantly, the Fast and Furious films. But there is more to this muscular mystery man than mind-blowing muscles and a tendency toward mayhem. Indeed, Johnson is one of the most self-aware stars we have, quite comfortable playing to his type as mocking it. He's also been careful with the projects he picks, using each film, no matter how lousy, to test his demographic reach while seeing if there is a legitimacy to his new career. While it's hard to gauge his future success based solely on the limited efforts currently part of his canon, it's clear that his present tenure as a highly sought-after action star is secure. Now that Black Adam has been released, it seems that the actor has received even more praise and is proving to be one of the best Hollywood leading men that can reel in the masses to watch movies. With that said, let's take a deep dive on all his best roles. Hi, welcome to YouWannaWatch, and in this video, we're going to talk about the 15 most badass characters of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Number 1. 𝗏𝗏 in Rampage. 𝗏𝗏 is a fearless man who was a Special Forces soldier before becoming an anti-poaching ranger and then a guerrilla handler at the San Diego Wildlife Sanctuary. Most people would probably break a sweat if they had to face full-grown gorillas all day, but Davis is virtually indestructible. Davis escapes military custody after surviving a deadly plane crash in which he begins handcuffed, steals a chopper, is shot in the stomach at point-blank range, survives a skyscraper falling on top of him, and then fires grenades and rockets at a giant alligator and a giant wolf. Needless to say, he's smiling and strolling along as if nothing happened after they're both dead. Number 2. Raymond Gaines in San Andreas. Raymond Gaines is a Los Angeles Fire Department helicopter rescue pilot and the only man in California who is physically stronger than a 9.6 magnitude earthquake. Ray Gaines, like every disaster movie badass rolled into one, lands helicopters without gearboxes, rides boats directly into tsunamis, and parachutes into earthquake zones rather than fleeing them. On an unstoppable mission to save his family from impossible odds, Raymond Gaines reminds us all that the best thing you can do in a crisis situation is to be related to a Dwayne Johnson action movie character. Number 3. Hercules in Hercules. With his take on the legendary demigod, Dwayne Johnson gives the Greek myth the WWE treatment. The Rock plays Hercules in a slightly more realistic way, as a conman who sows his own outlandish reputation for more money. But don't let that fool you into thinking he's not a badass. Even when he's technically cheating, he can still kill someone with a single punch. The Rock's Hercules, like the closest moviegoers have come to seeing God of War's Kratos on the big screen, suffers from a tragic past and the memories of his murdered family. He proves he's the truth behind the legend and has his vengeance through some old-school swords and sandals badassery. Number 4. Roadblock in G.I. Joe Retaliation. One of the last members of the elite GI, it's up to Roadblock to lead the remaining 2 surviving Joes on a mission to stop the nefarious Cobra, who have infiltrated the US government to the point of replacing the president with an impersonator. While Roadblock isn't the most memorable of Dwayne Johnson's badass characters who use machine gun turrets like regular guns, he's still on the list of characters who are too cool to look back on when they blow up the bad guy. There's not much else you can do to earn a spot on the all-time badass list. Number 5. Chris Vaughn in Walking Tall. Chris Vaughn is a former soldier who returns to his small lumber mill town in Washington state only to find it overrun with drugs and wannabe gangsters from the local casino, loosely based on the true story of Sheriff Buford Pusser. The Rock picks up his weapon of choice, a solid block of cedar wood, after being brutally tortured at the hands of the casino thugs and witnessing his nephew nearly overdose on crystal meth. Chris runs for sheriff after trashing the casino and being acquitted by the jury, and cleans things up the only way Dwayne Johnson knows how. Number 6. Bob Stone in Central Intelligence. The Rock is no stranger to playing secret agents, but Bob Stone in Central Intelligence is one of the strongest and goofiest. Bob, an overweight and dorky high schooler, dedicated his life to becoming a CIA secret agent. Even when the entire CIA turns on him, he is able to easily evade them. Not to mention his incredible strength for a human being, able to toss grown men aside and even rip people's throats out. What makes the film so enjoyable is the contrast between Bob being a bubbly dork with anxiety issues and his obvious physical prowess. Number 7. Gunnery Sergeant Escher Mahonin in Doom. The Doom film was, for all intents and purposes, doomed from the start. Doom was a particularly bad example of a video game adaptation from the early to mid-2000s. Nonetheless, it had its bright spots, one of which was The Rock as Sergeant Escher Mahonin. As a strong leader and soldier, being infected made him even more dangerous. He's essentially transformed into a superhuman, and it takes another superhuman to bring him down. Even then, he had to be punted into space rather than killed conventionally. It's a bad film with a surprisingly strong villain. Number 8. Luke Hobbs in the Fast and Furious franchise. Luke Hobbs, first introduced in Fast 5, is The Rock's strongest normal human character, and each film featuring the special agent makes his strength even more ridiculous. Luke Hobbs, a one-man army with military combat training and all manner of CQC and gunplay, swats aside everyone in his path. Toughness feats include redirecting a missile in flight, suplexing a man onto concrete so hard that it shatters it, and flexing off his arm cast. He got his own spin-off alongside Hobbs for a reason, and that reason is that he's a stone-cold mountain of machismo. Number 9. The Scorpion King and the Scorpion King. Despite the terrible CGI, the Scorpion King is still one of The Rock's most badass characters. Once a powerful general from antiquity, he lost his army in a great battle, and the curse he accepted to become conqueror finally caught up with him. He's now a near-invincible monster. In The Mummy Returns, even the formidable 𝗵𝗿 was wary of confronting the Scorpion King and had to trick it into killing Rick O'Connell instead. Rick only had a chance because he had the Spear of Anubis, which was its weakness. Without that helpful component, more people would have been forced to experience the uncanny valley. Number 10. Sean Porter in Gridiron Gang. Sean Porter, another of Dwayne Johnson's portrayals of a real-life hero, works with youths incarcerated at the Kilpatrick Detention Center in Los Angeles. Sean becomes determined to make a dent in the 75% reincarceration rate that his kids face after the gangland slaying of a young man he tried to mentor. Sean decides to coach a football team at the detention center and teaches the inmates about working together regardless of their backgrounds. On a journey that teaches him a lot about life, he teaches the kids how to respect themselves and, perhaps most importantly, how to forgive the hurt they've experienced. Number 11. Christopher Danson in The Other Guys. One of the original guys that the title of The Other Guys references, Christopher Danson is the perfect badass cop. That is, until he and his partner, Detective P.K. Highsmith, who was portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson, inexplicably decided to jump off a roof to apprehend some ziplining bad guys and perish. Even with the obvious comedy of both of their deaths, there's something decidedly badass about being so certain of your own heroism that you jump off a building with no real chance of survival. Some immortal last words are aim for the bushes. Number 12. Derek Thompson in The Tooth Fairy. Previously, The Rock was mostly seen in family comedies. Despite this, he still resembles The Rock, so his roles are often suited to his physique. Dwayne Johnson in The Tooth Fairy is a minor league hockey player with an attitude, the ideal candidate to become a tooth fairy. Surprisingly, the Tooth Fairy organization possesses a plethora of potent tools, including shrinking paste, cataway, and, most importantly, amnesia dust. Add to that the ability to fly, and no child's teeth are safe from being replaced for a reasonable sum of money. Someone of The Rock's physical stature with these superpowers is hilariously badass. We are nearing the end of our video, but before we proceed, we would like to ask you to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/c/YouWannaWatch2022 and follow us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/YouWannaWatch. Any support you provide us will help us provide you with more and better content. Okay, now back to the story. Number 13. Dr. Xander Smolder Bravestone in Jumanji. Dr. Xander Bravestone is a video game character from the new Jumanji game. Regardless of who plays the character, whether it's a nerdy shy guy or a cranky Danny DeVito, they gain Xander's intelligence and badass strength. He has an abundance of both of these. He can easily throw fully grown men into the air, and if that fails, he can knock them out with a single punch. Not only that, but his boomerang is Captain Boomerang level absurd, annihilating swaths of NPCs with a single throw, bringing a min-max strength build to life. Number 14. Beck in the Rundown, aka Welcome to the Jungle. Probably the most underrated character in Dwayne Johnson's entire career, from what is also probably his most underrated film. Beck is muscle under the control of a vaguely gangster-like figure. As his name suggests, there isn't much about Beck that is easily defined. All you know about him is that he's involved with the wrong people, that he's an aspiring restaurateur, and that he's a total badass. Before reluctantly taking down an entire pro football team's offensive line, Beck runs into a cameoing Arnold Schwarzenegger, who tells him to have fun. Though the film never made back its own budget at the box office, critics and audiences loved it, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger cameo sealed it as the official moment when the action movie tough guy crown was officially passed to Dwayne Johnson. Number 15. Black Adam in Black Adam. With Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson is finally joining the DC Extended Universe. He plays Teth Adam, also known as Black Adam, an ancient anti-hero who lived 5,000 years ago in a fictional North African nation. He is the archenemy of Shazam and is expected to face Superman as well. In the comics and film, he was bestowed with powers by Shazam, not the superhero, but the wizard of the same name played by Jim and Hounsou. Despite the fact that the trailers depict a brutally action-packed epic, the character isn't one of DC's most well-known, despite having been around for over 75 years. Black Adam is the most complex character to emerge from the Shazam mythos, and he has been at the center of some of DC's best stories in the last 20 years. He has become one of DC's most feared anti-heroes, a godlike being of profound honor and immense violence. But what makes Black Adam so tough, and why is one of today's biggest action stars eager to play him? That's because he shares Shazam's magic word, which transforms him into a formidable character with a cool set of powers and abilities. What do you think about Dwayne's most badass characters? Which is your favorite? Did we miss anyone or anything that you think should have been included? Let us know your thoughts by writing a comment on this video. If you're interested in our other videos, just hover over the videos and just press play. Until next time, watchers, thank you for watching our video.